So this is Aristophanes by me, Vijaya Bandhu. So who was Aristophanes? Aristophanes was a comic, a playwright, and he was Greek. He was born in 446 BCE and died in 386 BCE at the age of 60. And this is supposedly, because there is no evidence exactly, and they call it a ripe old age of 60, so I assume people did not live much past the age of 60. Um, he was referred to as the father of comedy. 11 of his 40 plays survived the test of times, and by that I mean it was survived intact. That is very impressive because not very many of the plays can survive fully intact. It means that it was either very circulated or it was a very popular play. Most plays survive in bits and fragments. Not much is known of his life. It is said that there is more known of his plays than of him. This is what Aristophanes looked like, or supposedly looked like. So Aristophanes, he was most known for his critiques of those around him, and he used those critiques in his plays. It was said that he was the most successful in displaying the life of ancient Athenians and ancient Athens. His plays were always comic, but they did have a political spin to it. His father may have been a man named Philippos, but there is no definite evidence that this is correct, and he's also believed to be from the island of Aegina. Again, there is no definite evidence, it's what's assumed. He was definitely educated in Athens, which is very significant because Athens was the intelligence center at the time, so everybody who was able to be educated in Athens usually had a high standing position. So the time period and its relevance. During the time Aristophanes wrote his plays, there was a war called the Peloponnesian War, which the Greeks were winning against the Persians. Even though Athens had been on the winning end of the war, Athens did suffer a good amount of damage, but it did remain to be the place that held the best education. Through his display of other figures in his plays, it is said that he is a very conservative man and of a conservative nature. We can also see in his play The Frogs, where Euripides is criticized for aspiring bad behavior in people. I believe it's inspiring, but when Euripides defends himself, he says that it's the truth of how people are living. And Aristophanes continues the play to say that Sophocles only inspires that which is good in people and encourages them to have a proper household. He even, I believe, in the play mentions one of the examples of Euripides doing is that Euripides inspires women to become unladylike. So I thought at first that that was just, ancient Greek. That's how everyone thought, but apparently that was still considered conservative at the time. So continued, Aristophanes was known as a risk-taker because of his plays and how they embarrassed important figures in society. Even though his plays were very political, he did not seem to be in politics because he survived as a playwright through the constantly changing government due to the Peloponnesian War. By that I mean there were two oligarchic revolutions and two democratic revolutions. For those of you that don't know, an oligarchy was a government system in power in which the power was held by a small number of people. So there were two of those revolutions where I'm assuming whoever the small number of people were changed until they eventually became democratic where the power was shared. So his family, I'm not sure if he only had three sons, but the three sons that are mentioned are Araros, Philippius, and a son whose name was either Nicostratus or Philetaerus, who followed in their father's footsteps as comic playwrights. There is no mention of his wife, even though I'm sure he had one. So his plays. He won a numerous amount of awards. His sons did also win some awards. They were not as significant as their fathers, but his awards were of great significance. For ancient Greeks, I suppose he was looked upon as we look at Emmy and Oscar winners because of how many awards he did win and their prestige. These awards were even harder for him to get because he criticized the people in power who were usually in charge of giving the awards out. Maybe even not directly, but they did have some part in it. He was known mostly for a play called Lysistrata, where women decided they would not sleep with their husband until they ended the Peloponnesian War. There were also 12 plays that I know of that survived. 11 of which were fully intact, and one was made up of bits and fragments. They were the Babylonians, I always have a problem saying this one, but Arch, Archinarians, either way, it's right there. The Knights, Clouds, Wafts, Peace, Birds, Lysistrata, Women at Thesmorphia, Frogs, Women at Ecclesia, and Wealth. Citations. Thank you. Hope you learned something and hope you enjoyed it.